Good morning, CSP students for 2021. I'm very pleased to meet you online, and I hope that this discussion today will just offer an introduction to the module and the expectation for the module. As you go through this content today with me, also remember to view it together with your tutorial 101, the tutorial 001, which offers updated assignment deadlines or submission dates, and of course your module study guide, which is your main source for this module. Okay, an overview of what we will discuss today. First, I will go through a reflection just to get you into thinking about this module and its content. We'll discuss the module purpose, the module outcomes, the assessment plan for 2021, your assignment submission guidelines, and an overview of the assignments you must submit, and just some brief study unit highlights, just to give you an overview. I'm sure many of you will have already started to complete your assignments, but for those of you who haven't, I hope this will assist you. Right. As a reflection, before you begin your learning journey with this module, I want you to reflect for a moment on whether, if at all during your schooling, you had a teacher or teachers who had a positive impact on your life or who assisted you when you were experiencing a challenging situation. If so, what did the teacher or teachers do that helped you at the time? What were the characteristics of the teacher or teachers that you appreciated? And if you did not have any such experience during your schooling, what would you have wanted from a teacher to have done to make a difference in your life at that time? I'm going to, once you have reflected on that, I want you to watch the following YouTube clip to aid your reflections on teachers that make a difference in learners' lives. Let's see if it will open up and load up. Okay, last time, and then hopefully.
I have a lot of memories from when I was a child. One that's always stuck out to me, though, was when I was about 10 years old, and I was in school, and I struggled. And I didn't struggle with English, math, or science. I struggled holding still. And I would try to listen, focus, and process ideas, but I couldn't help myself. And to be honest, I would sit there and then I would just start tapping. And the students in the class would look at me and they'd say, "Hey, stop tapping." A lot of the time, I didn't even realize I was doing it. And then eventually even the teachers got after me and they would yell at me and they'd say, "Clint, you have to stop tapping." It got so bad that I got sent to the principal's office for tapping. And he said to me, "Okay, maybe when you go back to class, just try sitting on your hands." So I did. I went back to class, and when I felt myself starting to tap, I did this. I sat on my hands, and that worked for about 5 seconds. One time I was tapping in class, and my teacher, Mr. Jensen, looked at me, and he yelled, and he said, "Clint, stay after class." And I thought to myself, this is it. I am done. Now, I've always been the type of person that believes that a single moment in time can change a person's life. And this was one of those moments for me, and I will never forget it. So I was sitting there with Mr. Jensen and an empty classroom. He walked past me and he sat next to his desk and he said, "Clint, come here. I want to talk to you." And as he looked me right in the eye, he said, "No, I need you to know something. You're not in trouble. But I do have just one question that I have to ask you." And he asked, he said, "Have you ever thought about playing the drums?" And in that moment, Mr. Jensen, he leaned back and he opened the top drawer of his desk. And he reached in and he pulled out my very first pair of drumsticks. And he held them in his hands and he looked at me and he said, "Hey, Clint, you're not a problem. I think you're in trouble." From that moment on, I've never put those sticks down. I've toured, recorded, and played drums all over the world. My whole college education was paid for with drumsticks in my hand. Just because of a single moment in time when somebody believed in me and he saw something in me that I didn't even see within myself. And from that moment, I learned that there's a difference between being the best in the world and being the best for the world.
So I'm sure you'll all agree that many of us who go into the teaching profession, that is our goal, to help others, to be an inspiration, and to somehow influence others' lives to make improvements. And therein lies the purpose of this particular module, which is care and support. And as a life skills educator, this module is important in that it will help you to apply theoretical and conceptual frameworks relevant to care and support within diverse teaching and learning environments. It's also aimed at helping you to account when selecting and applying aspects of policy documents relevant to care and support within the South African context, within diverse teaching and learning environments, and being able to identify and provide basic counseling services as an educator within your ethical boundaries as life skill teachers. And you will find that all of the assignments or the assessment outcomes are built around these specific outcomes for your module. Now, your assessment plan for 2021. We have had a change in our assessments at UNISA, and there's a move towards the use of continuous assessment, which means that we undertake regular assessment in the form of assignments throughout the module and give feedback to enrich your learning outcomes via the marking process. The application of continuous assessment for this module practically means that you will complete 4 assignments for assessment of your learning performance in this module. There will be no exam written for this module. I repeat, there is no examination, only these assignments. So you need to ensure that you complete all of the assignments to achieve a pass mark for the module. Each of the 4 assignments counts 25% towards your final promotion mark for the module. So you have to complete 4 compulsory assignments for this module on or before the specified due dates. Your assignment submission guidelines. This is a fully online module, and that differs completely to some of your other modules at UNISA. So all of your study material and your learning activities for online modules are designed to be delivered online from the MyUNISA platform. All of your assignments must also be submitted online. And of course, this is a move by the university in light of recent developments where we are all functioning online. This means that you will do all your activities and submit all your assignments on MyUNISA. So you may not post your assignments, of course. All the communication between you and the university happens online, and that includes with myself. So you are welcome to contact me via email. You're welcome to contact me via the MyUNISA platforms, and I will also contact you in that way. So please do look out for announcements, which will come into your MyUNISA, your My Life Student Account inbox with important information throughout the year. Now, when it comes to your assignments, you must remember that when you do the written assignments, especially assignments 2, 3, and 4, and optional assignment 5, which I will explain just now, your main source for answering your written response questions in these assignments is your study guide. So you must use the study guide content, but you must write the answers out in your own words. So you must paraphrase and not write them out verbatim, word for word, as if you're copying the actual study guide. The study guide must be referenced in every response to each question. For an in-text reference, which basically means if you write an answer, say in a Word document, then you must use your reference UNISA 2020 in brackets at the end of that, whatever you write. And you must provide a reference list at the end of the assignment which for this module is the study guide, and there is the module reference as I've provided on screen there. Again, as with all content at the university, no plagiarism and copying content from other students. So now that you have all of these written assignments, how can you make your personal writing more academic for purposes of these assignments? So don't rush to write your assignments. Draft a response, read it to yourself, read it aloud if it helps you to listen to what's being said. Be precise, use language accurately, be exact in your attention details, be open-minded, fair and unemotional in your approach. Make sure it looks professional, edit your own work, read through, reorder, change parts, reference other people's ideas, as we've already said, and use formal academic language, not slang. Don't use abbreviations. Try to use good vocabulary. Be cautious in your writing. Avoid sweeping statements that can't be backed up. Do not overgeneralize. Link your ideas to show your readers how the idea is related. So words like this links to this, or this can be related to this. Be explicit, always be clear, avoid vague statements and vocabulary. As these are written response assignments, then all of this is very important because your marks will be related to the wording that you use and the statements that you make. Write in paragraphs, one main idea per paragraph and not all over the place, multiple thoughts in one paragraph. Give examples and evidence as aligned to the actual questions of the assignments. And break down all the parts and show how they're related, as we've already stated. Here are your assignments for the year. So assignment number 1 is imminent. As you know, it's actually due this week Friday, but the university has provided an extension to the 24th of May, just to accommodate delays. So that must be submitted. That's multiple choice, and that's based on all the content of the study guide to give you an overall view. Then we have assignments 2, 3, and 4, which are written response assignments. There are the 3 assignments, and each count 25% of the mark. Now, should you miss the submission of one of those assignments, then you may complete assignment 5, but you only have one chance to miss one of those assignments, 2, 3, or 4, and then it can be replaced with assignment 5. So you cannot miss multiple assignments. The more assignments you miss, of course, then the lower your mark will be. And each time that you miss an opportunity, that's 25% that is missed, with no other option to submit. So there are your due dates again. Again, as I stated, assignment 1, the 14th of May, which is now extended to the 24th of May. Assignment 2, the 25th of June. Assignment 3, the 6th of August. And assignment 4, the 10th of September. And should you miss either 2, 3, or 4, then you have the option of completing assignment 5, which is due the 23rd of September. So the total marks for completion of the 4 assignments, it's 50 marks. Each is 200 marks, which will be amount to a year mark of 100%. Now, the written assignments and your planning of your personal study program. You need to note where assignments may be due near or in examination periods for other modules. As this module is not an examination module, but is based purely on assignments, then it does not align to examination time periods. So it may flow into those periods, either your preparation for examination periods for other modules, or just during or after. So please make sure that you provide adequate time for the assignments. Written assignments take much longer to complete, especially when done well and then done in detail as they need to be. So provide adequate time and don't wait till the last minute to complete each of those assignments. Assignment 1, as stated, is a multiple choice examination, assignments, and non-submission, there are no opportunities for resubmission, and you will forfeit the marks if you do not submit by the 24th of May. So the submission systems for each assignment online close very, very soon after the deadline or the due date. So be very, very careful and make sure you plan accordingly, and just watch for system overload. So don't wait till 11:30 p.m. on the due date for the assignment when everyone else is trying to submit online, because as you may have experienced, that's when systems can become too loaded to deal with the options. So always plan accordingly. Assignment 2, the 25th of June. Again, as I said, they require written responses. It's based on study unit 1 and 2 of the study guide. There are questions. You have some short response written questions. You have some longer response written questions. Look at the wording very carefully and look at the instruction. When you ask for a description, give a description. Look at the mark allocation. If it's something like 4 marks for a description of something like school-based support teams, then it likely requires at least 4 detailed viable points to receive the maximum mark allocation for that particular question. For assignment 2, question 2.2, you actually have to provide a mind map. And some students have already started to ask me, but how must I provide this mind map? Can I draw the mind map? Now you need to bear in mind that with online submission, you have to provide a PDF document to be submitted online. So that requires that somehow this mind map needs to go into that document. So let's just discuss how you can do that quickly. So in general, most of us will use Microsoft Word when we're drafting a written assignment. We will type in that document and then we will likely convert it to a PDF. Always make sure that your documents are not corrupted, that they're labeled correctly as per the guidelines before you submit. If you submit a corrupted document, there's not much we can do with it. And again, you risk losing marks in that instance. So bearing in mind that you're working in Microsoft Word, then if you're going to try and use a mind map, then you can use the MS Word drawing tools. So you will go to the Insert tab at the top bar of Microsoft Word, and then you might click on Shapes, and then there would be a drop-down menu that allows you to click on a little text box. You click on the text box, you place it into your Word document and you enter add text, and then you can type in what you need to type in there. You can also use arrows from the shape drop down function 2, and then you can link and make mind map arrows where you need to make them. So that's very simplistically how you would do that. And within the next couple of weeks, I will also just provide some written guidelines in an announcement to just reinforce that and give you some further details. Now, assignment 3, again, 50 marks, written responses, is due in August. Okay, it's based around study unit 1 and also your other study units. There is a mini case study provided, and then you have to read that case study, link to your knowledge of the content in study unit 1 or learning unit 1, and then decide whether that is correct or incorrect. Note very carefully there that if it is incorrect, you have to state the correct answer. Again, you have to give details. Okay. There's also question 2, which provides a statement on multicultural counseling, and then you have to explain terms. And you have to then in 2.3 answer a question, which is application, or how can a teacher counselor who works in a multicultural environment enhance his or her communications with all learners and parents? So look at the mark allocation of 3 and then think about that and apply the knowledge from that study unit to an answer. Okay, question 3 is to find the correct wording in those sentences and fill it in, so you can just provide the word. And question 4, you are given a statement and you have to, for 10 marks, write a long response option to support the view expressed in that statement. So again, you must provide enough argument, at least 10 relevant points to gain marks for that question. And question 5 is about reflecting on Ubuntu as a concept and indicate how you can apply it in the classroom, bearing in mind the need for diversity and multicultural perspectives in a classroom, and that application to your practice as a life skills teacher. Okay, your final assignment, assignment 4, is due in September and requires again a written response and the reading of study unit 3 and 4 of the study guide. And again, there's some definitions you need to provide in your own words, descriptions. You have to outline how you will go about establishing and maintaining a trusting relationship with a learner as part of a therapeutic process for 6 marks. And then you also then need to provide some examples of types of questions that are used in the counseling sessions. And you also then need to provide actual examples aligned to ethics in counseling sessions, informed consent, informed assent, care ethics. Okay, then you have question 2, which is a case study and its application, a lot around study unit 4. And here again, you will have to actually apply information and links to the study, and also provide some of your own thoughts on what would assist for this learner. And so what you will see there is that most of these questions require a little bit of knowledge from the study guide and some application thereof. And given the format of assessment for this module, if you work consistently and thoroughly, it is easy to get your marks and go through those processes in application if you know your study unit and your study guide content very well. Okay, and then finally, if you miss either assignment 2 or 3 or 4, not all of them, only one, then you may complete as optional assignment 5. That has a number of questions as well, and it's based on the entire study guide in this instance. And as I have said, those questions involve knowledge and application of knowledge for those purposes. And I will provide a few more guidelines and a few bits of interesting information as we go along during the year to enrich your learning of this content. Okay, now your actual study units for CSP2601. The study units, one is life skills theories, personal and social well-being theories. The learning outcomes are to explain some theories related to personal and social well-being, and you will see that reflected in some of the assignment questions, to compare and contrast different theories, and to be able to apply the theories that you're exposed to in the study guide in the life skills classroom. So there is, as presented already on my uni, so there's just a word cloud which gives you an indication of the content of that module, or sorry, that study unit. It's around positive psychology, resilience, and we deal with some well-being issues such as obesity. And we also deal with the systems that support learners via Bronfenbrenner's theory. So the idea around a word cloud is that the bigger the words are, the more likely those feature in the actual study units. So you can just have a look at the biggest words, and it'll give you an overview of the module content, and then all of the smaller words around there will give you insight into smaller issues within that study unit. Okay. Study unit 2, learning outcomes, are school policies and documents on care and support in diverse teaching and learning environments. So here we will look at all the South African policies that relate to care and support. So you will have to explain education policies relating to personal and social well-being, compare and contrast these policies, discuss how schools can implement these policies in a life skills classroom, and explain the relevance of these policies to life skills as a subject. There again is your word cloud, and there again, given the contents, not surprising that the main words are policy and education and support, but we deal with white papers, and we deal with the South African Schools Act, and we deal with the CS policy and the role players in education who are involved in care and support, and what those roles are. Study unit 3 is human rights and ethics for care and support in diverse settings. Now, if you are a life skill teacher or you're involved in teaching in general, it's important to know the meaning of human rights as they relate to children, as they relate to families that you will engage with, and even your colleagues. So you have to be able to explain the meaning of children's rights, and you have to be able to show how human rights can be applied in the classroom and how children's rights may be applied in the classroom. Importantly, and also linking to your role as a counselor, you have to know about ethics and the ethics of care and what you may and may not do in terms of your ethical interactions with learners and their families, and how these ethical principles are applied in the classroom. So in general, you have to show an understanding of human rights, children's rights, and ethics. And there again is a word cloud, and I will allow you to look at that carefully yourselves as you go through the module. And finally, your final study unit, which is one of your largest study units, is basic counseling for care and support by life skills teachers. So you need to be able to differentiate between professional counseling and teacher counseling. As an educator, as a trainee educator, your role is as a teacher counselor and not as a registered counselor or psychologist. And you need to be able to tell the difference between those. So you also need to be able to explain what teacher counseling is about, the goal of counseling, and name and describe a few theoretical approaches to counseling. You also have to reflect on counseling, care, and support in the African context. And you have to evaluate yourself against the personal characteristics of counselors. There are characteristics of who a counselor needs to be in order to interact effectively with learners. Then you have to be able to apply the counseling process, as you will see, which is reflected in assignment 4 specifically, and basic counseling skills. And you also be able to have an idea of what group counseling entails. And you have to have a little bit of knowledge on the different counseling techniques available for primary school learners. Okay, so there again is a word cloud overview of that. That is it for now. I will check in again. As I said, please watch your inbox for announcements from myself and information. If you require any information or clarity or just want to check in, you're welcome to email me or post something on the My UNISA site. And yes, we'll be in touch, and I look forward to working with you on this journey through this module. Thank you.